Hello and good morning, Sudoku fans. Welcome, as usual, to a New York Times Hard Sudoku puzzle. Today is November 16, 2023. I'm a little late today. I just had some guys fixing my refrigerator. The Vietnamese people are not usually disturbed by noise, but I am. And the refrigerator was making a racket that I just couldn't bear anymore. Now it's fixed. So let's see what we have here. We have a 7 blocking over here, and therefore one of these must be a 7. So this goes to 7 here, and this 7 block these squares here. And these two 7s block these squares. So a 7 goes here in column 1. These 8s here block these 5 squares. So here's an 8. And a 1 must go here or here. We also have 1s blocking down and across, so 1 will have to go here or here once we're finished. And one of these must be a 2 because of this 2 blocking down. It's worth noticing that a 5 and a 7 can't go here, so 5 and 7 must go in 2 of these 3 squares. The 7 can't go here, so 7 is restricted to this square and to this square. We can also have a 7 here, of course. A 2, 3, and a 6 and a 9 across here. 6, of course, must go here or here. The 9, I'm not so sure about. It could go here and in any of these 2 squares. This square is pretty restricted. It cannot only be a 2 or a 4, because we need a 2, 4, 3, 5, and an 8 to complete column 2. There's a 8, 5, and a 3 blocking here, so this is a 2 or a 4. Therefore, the 8 has got to go here, because this 8 blocks here, this 8 blocks here, this 8 blocks here, and this 8 blocks here. So that's the 8 dealt with. A 5 must go in this square, because the 5 blocks here, and this 5 blocks here. So here's a 5. Now 2, 3, and a 4 for these squares. We have a 4 blocking here, so it's clear that one of these must be a 4. The 2 could go here or here, and the 3 could go here and here. So that's, I think, as far as we can take it for the time being. If we look at this row 7, we can see that we need for the row to find a 1, 7, 9, 4, and a 6. Now let's look at these 3 squares. They are 1, 7, 9, so that means that these 2 squares must be a 4 and a 6. And these must be a 1, 7, and a 9. Since we have a 1 and a 9 blocking down here, it is clear that the 7 must go here. Now we have a 7 and an 8 blocking across here, so these 2 squares must be a 7 and an 8. Therefore, these 2 squares must be a 2 and a 3. We have a 3 blocking up here, so here's a 2, here's a 3. Back to the 1 and the 9 here. Can we do anything with those? I don't think so. They'll have to wait, but we know that they have to be a 1 and a 9. And these, as I said, a 6 and a 4. Therefore, these must be a 2, 3, and an 8. And there isn't a lot I can do about that. This is a 2, 3 now because the 8 blocks down, but that is not so important. A 1, 5, and a 9 across here, 5 blocks down, 5 blocks up. 5 could go here or here, and a 1 could go here or here. The 9, unfortunately, could go in any of these 3 squares. So the 7 blocks here, here, and here. This is 7 blocks here. It's clear that a 7 must go here. We have this 7 blocking down now, and we have this 7 blocking down, and this 7 blocking across. So a 7 goes here. Here we are looking for a 5, 9, and a 6. 9 blocks over. One of these must be a 9. Yes, and that's all we can say at this time. Here a 2, 4, 6, and a 9. We know this is a 2, 4 because we found that out earlier. So a 6 and a 9. The 9 must go here or here. The 6 we don't really know much about because we only have a couple of 6s in the grid. We got a couple of 4s blocking up here now. So here's a 4. And since we found this 4, we took away a possible candidate square for a 1. And this 1 blocks here, here, and here. This 1 blocks here, so a 1 must go here. This 1 blocks across now, so does this, leaving this square only for a 1, and therefore this must be a 9. Remember the 1, 9, 7? We found the 1, 7, and 9 now. So what does it do to the 9s? Well, it gives me a 9 either here or here. And that's all it does. We also have a possible 9 here, here, or here. Here we need a 5, 3, and a 6. 5, 3, and a 6. 3 blocks down. One of these is a 3. Yeah, but that's helpful because this 3 now blocks across. This 3 blocks across. So here's a 3. Does that do anything for me? The 3 blocks up and over. We can have a 3 here or here. So no, that's not so helpful. But now we know what these two squares are because these are still a 4 and a 6, right? Therefore, these must be an 8 and a 2. And the 8 blocks down. So here's a 2 and here is an 8. Now, about the 2s, this a 2 blocks up, this blocks over. One of these is a 2. We also have a possible 2 here. But one of these being a 2 blocks over, this 2 blocks over, this a 2 blocks up. So we are going to have a 2 here or here. It's a help, not a lot of help, but it is a help. This must be a 5 or a 9. We need a 3, 5, 6, and a 9 down here. There's a 6 and a 3 here, so this is a 5 or a 9. 6 and 9 here, this is a 3 or a 5. Can we get any closer to that? No, I don't think so. 5, 6 here. We need a 2 and an 8 for 2 of these squares here. Unfortunately, that's also not yet possible. I want to look at this square because everything around this square is quite busy. It is so busy that, in fact, this square can't be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or an 8. And that leaves only one number, and that is a 9. Now we have a 9, I think, for one of these squares, but we knew that, didn't we? Because there's 9 blocks here. So now might be a good idea to look at the remaining 4 squares in the column. A 2, 3, 7, and an 8. 2, 8, 3, 7, 7, 8. 7 can't go here. 7 can't go here. 7 goes here or here. 8, I'm less certain about. 3 up here somewhere. 3, 7, 2, or 8. Let me look at column 4. We only have 4 givens. Block 2 here is pretty empty except for the 1 and the 5. But let's give it a try because we have quite a few givens down here and we have this row full of givens. Let's see if we can figure out something here because we need to find a 2, 4, 5, 6, and an 8. The 5 must go here or here because of this 5 blocking. We have a 2, 8 here. We have a 2, 8 here. So these 2 squares can't be 2 and 8. We also have a 5 blocking here. So what can go here? The only numbers that could go here, if they are not 1, 2, and 3, they can be a 4, but not a 5. They can be a 6, but not an 8 and a 9. And I think we have about the same numbers blocking here because this square cannot be a 1 and it cannot be a 2 because this 2 blocks up, this 2 blocks over. So one of these must be a 2. So it cannot be a 2. It cannot be a 3. It could be a 4, but not a 5. It could be a 6, but not a 7, or an 8, or a 9. So we have a pair here. And this pair is a 4-6 pair. Now we have reduced the column to 3 empty squares that we need to figure out. And since the 4 and the 6 are spoken for, we are now looking for a 2, 8, and a 5. And the 2 and an 8 can't go here, so this must be the 5. This 5 blocks across here, and therefore we have a 5 for this square now. This 5 blocks up, this 5 blocks over. So here's a 5. Now a 9 and a 6 up here, and therefore a 1 here. This 1 blocks across, this 1 blocks across, this 1 blocks up, so here is a 1. This 1 blocks down, this 1 blocks up, this 1 and this 1 block here and here, so here's a 1. Now we need a 9 and a 5 for these squares, and we can do something about that because the 5 blocks down, giving me a 9 here and a 5 here. This 5 blocks across, this 5 blocks down, here is another 5. And things are coming together nicely now. 4 and 6 here, 2 and 8 here, and 2 and 8 here. 2 blocks down, so 2 goes in one of these 2 squares in any event, and also in one of these 2 squares. So we got all the 5s. Can we do anything here? I'm sure we can, because we know that these 2 squares must be a 6 and a 3. Therefore, this must be a 4. And these now a 2, 8, and a 6. 2, 8, 6. Holding pattern, holding pattern. Back to these 2 squares, 7, 8. Therefore, a 2, 3, and a 4 across here. There's a 2 and a 4 blocking here. So this is a 3. There's a 4 blocking here. So this is a 2. And therefore, this is a 4. We had a 4 and a 6 down here. Remember, the 4 blocks down. Here's a 6. Here's 4. Now we are back to the 4 candidates here. We have known that for some time, but we still are no closer, I think, to a solution for those. So let's look at this square. We can figure out that that must be a 2. And here, of course, a 2, because of this 2 blocks up. And here, of course, a 3, which now blocks up here. This 3 blocks across here. So here's a 3. Now we know where the 4 goes. We now have these 2 4s blocking these 4 squares, and we have these 2 4s blocking these 4 squares. So a 4 must go here in the top row. Here are 6 and a 9, 6 and a 9, 6 and a 9. Here also a 6 or a 9. That's easier to begin here because the 9 blocks, giving me a 6 here. Therefore, this must be the 9 and this must be the 6. And this 6 blocks over, giving me a 6 here and a 9 here. 9 blocks over, 9 blocks up, 9 must go here. And here we find ourselves with a 7, which gives us an 8 here and a 7 here. I wonder when we are going to solve these two, 6 and a 9. Oh, we solve them now. The 9 blocks up. So here's a 6, here's a 9. That was convenient. Now we have these 6s blocking, so here's a 6. And here is a 3. Up here, 2, 3, and an 8. 2, 3 block here. So here's an 8. This 8 blocks down. This 8 blocks down. Here's an 8. This 2 blocks down. Here's a 2. And here's a 6. Here we need to find a 2 and a 3. 3 blocks up, so the 2 goes here and the 3 here. And that's it for today. I didn't think that was particularly easy. Perhaps it's because I was distracted by the service guy service guys, they always come in pairs to fix the refrigerator. But we got through it all right, and we'll get back here tomorrow for tomorrow's puzzle. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.